Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the latest Career Brights podcast with DYW. And today's special guest is we've got the team from Arnold Clark here today. So I'm so pleased to introduce, we've got Lauren MacDonald, who is
the Senior Early Careers Advisor. So I work as part of the Early Careers team here at Arnold Clark. We look after the apprentices and graduates for the group. So that involves recruitment of apprentices and graduates, but also the engagement piece with schools. And obviously we do a lot of work with DYW to get into those said schools.
Thanks, Lauren. And we've also got Cammy Curle. So Cammy, you're an apprentice with the organisation, is that
I've
right?
just went into my third year in my apprenticeship, so I'm in my last year now. So
home straight for you then, is it?
Home straight now, working myself, so just getting on with it, and I'm actually enjoying it, so it's going well.
Brilliant. So let's crack on, guys. So obviously with DYW, we do so much work with Arnold Clark, which is great. They're a great supporter of like our events programmes, and really what we're here today is actually just to highlight all about the world of early careers and apprenticeships. We want to tell young people why Arnold Clark's an employer of choice. Why should they go and work for Arnold Clark? Why is it a great place to work? And really just find out about like your own experiences working for Arnold Clark, and why you would obviously advise maybe young people or even some of the educators and influencers that are going to be watching today's podcast, just to say, oh, do you know what? Have you ever thought about Arnold Clark as a career? So is that all right?
Yeah.
Yes, sounds good.
So, Lauren, we've met loads of times before at lots of different events and lots of different programmes for Arnold Clark, but just really tell us a little bit more about kind of like your role. Why is it so important to have like an early careers advisor with Arnold Clark?
Yes, so with Arnold Clark, obviously, we are a huge business. There's over 11,000 employees in the business, and a good chunk of those are apprentices. So the early careers team are super important in that obviously we are responsible for bringing kind of young, fresh talent into the business. Apprentices are the kind of lifeblood of the business, and we hope that these young people come into, as I say, into their apprenticeship and have a long sort of career with us. So it's super important for our team to have obviously the connections with wider groups, with universities, colleges, schools, DYW and other groups, for that engagement piece, obviously to kind of highlight how our exciting opportunities and the benefits that we have, and which make us obviously an employer of choice.
And that's why we're here today, I guess, because it's so important for us to highlight these pathways. It's part of why we've kind of developed this Career Bites podcast initiative. We need to get more young people learning about the journey. And for you, Cammy, I guess third year apprentice.
Yes.
What made you choose Arnold Clark on that journey? What made you get started with Arnold Clark?
I had jobs before. I worked in Arnold Clark, I worked in McDonald's as well, and I worked in a call centre, and it got to a point in my life where I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, because it was after COVID. So I was just figuring out what I wanted to do. And I enjoy cars. My granddad had cars that he worked on as well, so I've done that with him. So it's something I did enjoy, and being hands-on as well. So I was strolling through just apprenticeships, and I came across Arnold Clark apprenticeship. So I applied for it, and pretty quickly got back to me. Went in for an interview, and then that was it.
Ready to go.
That was it. That was 2 years ago now.
So is that you started at probably about 20 or 21?
I mean 20, 21. Yeah, I started I just turned 21 when I started in Arnold Clark.
Yeah.
So I'd applied when I was about 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's been it.
And really that for you has been a bit of a varied start, because you've had that kind of like journey of maybe doing like a McDonald's job, which is obviously fast paced service, but lots of the skills that you probably learn within that environment, believe it or not, are transferable to this.
Yeah, especially the people skills, obviously. Communicating with my mentor and everyone else in the garage, being that my manager or something. So you learn a lot having a job before that, but definitely for somebody coming in at 16 maybe, they'll learn a lot just being in the workshop and communicating with everyone. That's
why we've got you roped into today, isn't it? so then just thinking, I guess, a little bit about, like starting that journey, were you a bit apprehensive about maybe going in as an older apprentice, or for you was it just one of these natural progressions?
I don't necessarily think I was apprehensive about it. I was more than confident going in. I'd done stuff like that before when I was in school. When I was younger, I'd done a foundation apprenticeship in engineering. So I'd done that, and then when I left school, and I was just struggling to find what I wanted to do with myself.
Yeah.
But then I found my apprenticeship, and I do enjoy my job. So I've got no regrets about joining Arnold Clark at all.
Brilliant, because I think the main thing for us to kind of like focus on a little bit of that journey is every year we do like a kind of like highlighted programme called No Wrong Path. And it's always round about the time when young people are getting their exam results. This year it was really early because they got it early August. But round about that time, if you've not quite got the qualifications that you thought you were going to get, and you think it's the end of the world because you've not got that right path to go into, it's never going to be the end of the world, because there's always that journey with a little bit of kind of like what you've just said, where, you know, I've done a foundation apprenticeship in engineering. I probably liked a little bit the hands-on part of that, but then COVID years I've found myself in 2 or 3 different jobs before I found my path. And
definitely, yeah. When you leave school and you don't get the qualifications you want, I didn't myself. I've not got the best qualifications, I'll admit that, but you always find what you want to do, and no matter how long it takes, and you know I have, so I'm happy where I am now, so it's always good.
And then just, I guess, there's been a clash that we've just found out about today, where, Lauren, fundamentally it's your role to be an early careers advisor, and we've just found out today that you've been involved in the recruitment process for Cami, is that right?
Yes, so I look after Glasgow primarily as my sort of region. The team cover different regions for recruitment. So Cami works at our Hamilton Road Vauxhall branch, which is one of the branches that I cover. So yeah, we discovered I would have hired him, 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I started 2 years ago on the 4th of September.
Yeah.
Is when I started.
So
Which
it's
is
a
wild.
small world.
Yeah.
It is, and we obviously offer a lot of apprentices
Yeah.
the role, so we do have kind of high volumes, but you do remember names, which is wild to think, considering how many we do offer kind of each intake. So we have our intakes in March and September, so obviously Cami's part of the September intake. We've just started our sort of September intake just recently. We've got our second one on Monday, but you get familiar with all the names and where they're going, and it's so nice obviously now to see his journey. Like it's wild.
Brilliant. So let's explore that just a little bit further, because I think it's important to say, if you were a September intake,
Yes.
Cami, is that right, and you're on your 3rd year, just thinking about, you know, the early careers that Arnold Clark offer, can you just tell us a little bit about that? How many roughly would you take on? Because, you know, I touched on the fact that Arnold Clark covers the whole of the UK, effectively almost, and you mentioned there 11,000 co-workers across the organisation, which is a huge organisation. How many apprentices roughly would Arnold Clark be recruiting each year?
So it does vary, just obviously kind of on business needs. But for example, for September, just at the moment, we've got probably like just under 200, and obviously we have kind of similar numbers for March as well, slightly lower for the March intake, but it is usually around those numbers each intake. So yeah, it's a really, really high volume that we're taking in, and obviously you can see that the business are fully invested in their apprentices, with the the kind of time they put in, the training elements that we put in for them, all the benefits they obviously get as well. So yeah, the numbers are usually very high, so we're always kept busy, which is great.
And I'd be keen to explore that probably a little bit further. So we've obviously got Cami here today, and Cami, you're a mechanic, is that right?
Yeah, well, apprentice mechanic. Yeah,
apprentice mechanic, almost mechanic. So apologies. So I guess this is the main thing to stress, because people think about Arnold Clark and it's the car industry. But let's just dispel a few myths, because apprenticeships don't just cover mechanics. What other types of apprenticeship roles, Lauren, would Arnold Clark be offering then for young people?
Yeah, so obviously mechanics is one of our kind of most popular and what we're primarily known for, but we do offer lots of different apprenticeships. So we offer body shop apprenticeships, so that covers apprentice smart repair technicians, apprentice panel beaters and apprentice spray painters. So they work in our sort of body shop departments, but again they interlink with obviously other departments as well. You've maybe spoke with body shop people before, and in your apprenticeship, or will go
definitely.
on to do that if you haven't already. We do have that kind of one business approach within the business, that every kind of department either interlinks or has some sort of communication with each other at one point or one stage in your career. We then have our sort of customer service based roles. So we have apprentice after sales customer advisors. So they work as a hybrid role between the parts department and the service department. So that's a really good role for anyone that's interested in, as I say, kind of customer service, working with people, are find really confident in that kind of element and enjoy sort of, as I say, kind of meeting new people and dealing with the kind of customers face to face.
So just to explore that just a little bit further, just so we know a little bit about it, would that be very much kind of like potentially sales based at some point, or is it just really customer service, supporting a client that's on that purchase journey for vehicles and so on?
Yes, so the after sales advisor, the apprentice after sales customer advisor, is based in the service department. So that's in the kind of wider after sales department. So that's where basically the majority of our apprenticeships sort of sit. So they would deal with kind of customers coming in, maybe they're booking their car in for a service or they're due a service on an MOT, so they're responsible for obviously taking that customer's details, dealing with any issues, liaising with the service department where Cammy and his team will be, with the workshop, so they kind of deal with that element of it, but then they also get to go into the parts side as well, and deal with the parts department. So it's really nice to have a kind of hybrid role. Yeah, so they're getting experience in both sort of areas. We then also have just kind of primarily for a September intake, we have our rental apprentices, so they work on our car and van rental sites that we have, so responsible again for the kind of customer service element, dealing with customers, booking them in, if it's rental cars, hire cars, it might be the dual control cars. We do have a lot of car and van rental sites across obviously the UK. I always find that quite an exciting job. I think if you've maybe worked at one of the airport ones, because you're meeting people off on their holidays, who have maybe come to like Scotland or England or whatever it might be. So they're kind of customer service. We also have just a standalone parts apprentice role again, which is kind of parts operations they deal with. So they again liaise with obviously like Cammy's team basically. So if they're maybe working on a car, you need a particular part, we have a parts department that basically either source that or kind of go outsource it, so to speak, if they need to get it ordered in. So they're kind of working with the service department and liaison with their own kind of work, which is again a great kind of opportunity to mix with different departments. They're a very crucial role, I always think, as well. We do need, obviously, you can't fix cars without parts. So they are a very important apprenticeship. Obviously, as discussed, there's a lot of different apprenticeships that we offer. It's not just primarily mechanics. So if you're maybe thinking as a young person, I'm interested in a role in customer service, I don't really think Arnold Clark would maybe have that. That's totally not the case. Obviously, we do have lots of different apprenticeships for all different skill sets. So there's something for everyone.
Brilliant. And I think this is the thing that we can stress. So obviously, people might think immediately it's just mechanics, and we've got Cammy here, you're representing that corner. But for the other guys that are perhaps not here thinking parts and customer service and so on, I just want to ask kind of 2 or 3 questions just about those roles, just in case there's a young person interested in that, because you'll interact with those departments.
Yeah, interact daily with them.
Yeah.
Multiple times a day you interact with the parts department, whether we get getting parts out or ordering parts. And then customer service, you obviously speak to them if you need more information on something, and they deliver us information as well about the customer's complaint with their car if there is a problem.
So I think it's one thing that's worth stressing then, it's just one big team, isn't it, really? Because you're all communicating, you're all interacting. But for the other young people that are maybe involved in like after sales or parts or so, and there's no real like strong targets to be hitting like sales or anything like that for a young person. So for them, it's more about learn your skills, learn customer service, explore into your role. And then I suppose at that point, they can take their career to lots of different areas within the business.
Well, one of our sort of core values is progression. So the hope is that most of our apprentices, if not all of them, will stay in the business into full-time positions with us, whether that be a fully qualified mechanic. Obviously, for Cammy in particular, there's a great progression route in terms of they could go to sort of workshop controller, service manager, franchise service manager, and kind of work their way up throughout the business. A lot of our sort of senior level members of staff started off as apprentices, so they are actually kind of living proof that
there's a career pathway 100%. For them if you want it.
Absolutely. And it's the same for the after sales and parts advisors or apprentices, there's plenty of opportunity again if you work hard. We always say with your apprenticeship, obviously, you get out what you put in. So if you're willing to put the work in, the opportunity is definitely there for you. And as I say, the company are really big on progression, and they will support you in that career path, wherever it might take you.
Brilliant, thanks Lauren. So just thinking about your journey then, Cammy, so like year one you've kind of started your apprenticeship. Just tell us what that was like, what made you want to do it, and what that journey's been like for you so far.
No, so I said I've had an interest in cars. I've worked on them with my granddad before I joined Arnold Clark, and I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do myself, and I was strolling through apprenticeships and found Arnold Clark and applied for it, and I was more than happy to get it. So then going into year one, I get put with my mentor, and we're just basically working with him the full way. He's teaching me.
So just thinking about that mentor relationship, is that in a branch?
Yeah, so in our branch, but he's a fully qualified mechanic, obviously. So we just get paired up with him, and we'll work alongside him for the 2 years that we're with him, and just they'll teach you as much as possible, and obviously just listen, learn, watch what they're doing. Obviously they'll let you do it as well, because you need to get the hands-on experience, and in your third year you move into working yourself.
So what's your relationship with your mentor like?
Mentor, good, yeah.
Brilliant.
Get along very well. You spend 8 hours a day with him for 2 years.
So it helps.
5 days a week, so it helps to get along with him. No, we get along very well. So yeah, that's me just left him on Monday there to go work myself.
Oh, right. So now, because you're in a branch, you're away from your mentor and you're doing more and more of the work yourself, yeah?
Yeah, so in your third year, you've got to do working on your own.
So your mentor still be there if
my
you ever need
mentor's
them,
still there.
but you're on your own.
He's just round the corner, basically.
But you're more hands-on yourself.
Yeah, so we're doing everything ourselves.
So tell us about that journey. Does it get to like, oh, that's me in week 1 of year 3 and then you start? Or do you need to get signed off to a point where you're at that level from year 2 into year 3 where they're saying...
No, so as soon as you go into your year 3, you've done your 2 years with your mentor.
Yeah.
So they've taught you everything that you need to know. You go into working yourself. And that's pretty much.
How do you feel about that? Pretty confident?
Confident. I'd say I'm confident about working myself. I've listened, I've learned, so I'm more than happy to go working myself and just get on with it. Because you learn a lot more when you're working yourself sometimes, because you need to think for yourself. So I'm more than excited to get on with it for the next year.
Ready to go. So another thing that I'd quite like to explore then was maybe like the start of that kind of career journey for mechanics or technicians. So Arnold Clark invest heavily in training and development, which we know about, and we can hear that from a little bit of your journey. And obviously, Lauren, you bang the drum for all of that sort of pathway. But Arnold Clark have got a fantastic facility called GTG. Yeah. So Lauren, you tell us a little bit about that facility first and how that impacts your role, and then we'll hear from Cammy.
Yeah, of course. So GTG training is part of the Arnold Clark group. So we're really lucky to have that facility, obviously kind of near or close by to most of our workplaces. Obviously that's where our apprentices do their training. That's their college element that we call basically at GTG training. But it's not just for our apprentices. We also we attend there ourselves. So for any training that we might need, if it's mental health first aid or just first aid, fire safety, things like that, we use that facility as well. So we're really, really lucky, as you say, that the business do invest a lot of time and money into kind of upskilling, obviously majority or most of their employees. So yeah, we're so lucky to have that facility on site. It's state of the art. We have 3, actually 4 across the UK. There's 2 in Glasgow, the sort of main ones in South Street in Glasgow, and then we have one at Cabernet Street, and then we also have one in Edinburgh and Wolverhampton as well. So that's where all our apprentices would go to visit on their kind of first induction day, and you will go back in like week blocks, don't you?
Yeah, so
for
we
your
go back
training.
in week blocks, usually every 2 months we go back.
But listen, guys, I can testify for that because I've seen it. It's state of the art, great facility, great place to learn. It's spotless, and that's one of the things that, again, just to dispel myths. You know, people think that some careers and some job roles are all just like totally like muddy boots or greasy cesspits and so on, and it's absolutely not that. It couldn't be any further from the truth. Yeah. And apart from it being such a nice place to work, you get that impression that it's really a safe place for young people to learn as well, because obviously health and safety will be a huge part of that
Yeah.
early
Yes.
college type environment.
Yeah, it's a
but I
big part of
suppose for your experience there, Cammy, what's that been like in the GTG training
So when I
facility?
started 2 years ago, we done 4 weeks at GTG. I think it's cut down to
It's
2.
two now,
It's
yeah.
cut down to 2
Mhm.
weeks now. We done 4 weeks there, and that was just to basically going through health and safety and getting our overalls. We had overalls at the time, and now get 2 pieces. But going through all our health and safety, getting to know everyone in your class, your college class, because you're with them for the next 3 years every time you
So
go
do you
up.
pick up a bit of camaraderie with that group as well, because you're all at the same
my
stage?
class, we all get along very well. We're all from all over, would be Glasgow to Falkirk to Ayrshire.
Yeah.
We're all from all over, so we all get along very well, and we have since day one. So that makes it easier just going to college and doing all your tests. It's a lot of classroom work as well. But that's not to say that to put anybody off. It's you need to do it. You know?
Yeah.
You need to do it because you've got your IMI tests to do and your class tests to do. You need to pass them, so you do need to know this stuff. But it's always good to get along with the people around you when you're there.
So I'm keen to explore that a little bit, because every business likes to use a little bit of abbreviation and so on in sort of tests. So this IMI test that you mentioned there,
Yeah, so
just tell us a little bit about that. Is it just something that your mentor and your learning and training environment would help you to learn? Or?
The IMI is who gives us our qualification.
Yeah.
As mechanics, so they're the ones that sign our papers off the IMI.
So there'll be a sign-off process.
So we need to do a certain amount of IMI tests, and we need to pass them.
Yeah.
To gain our qualification. You do get resets at them, obviously, if you do fail them. But the instructors in GTG are more than good. They're all former mechanics themselves, so they're excellent at teaching you the stuff you need to know.
So someone's there every step of the way with you for that support.
Yeah, so every time you go up, you're assigned a lecturer, as we call them, and they'll have you for the full week, whether you be in the workshop at GTG learning in there, or you're in the classroom learning about your IMI test that you need to do. They'll give you all the information you need to know to pass it, and then it's just you get a wee tablet and you sit down, and it's multiple choice questions, and you just go through all the questions and answer them to the best of your ability.
Brilliant. And I guess you've felt supported every step of the way, either in that training environment at GTG or with your mentor. And that supportive process kind of helps you get to, pass each test as you go along.
The lecturers are more than supportive. They're more than there to help you answer any question you have. And if you're struggling, just say to them and they'll do their best to help you.
And I think, Lauren, you touched on every apprenticeship really has that element of kind of like supported training and development, but also there is a testing process involved for every type of apprenticeship anyway, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, an apprenticeship is, you are getting a qualification. Primarily a great thing about an apprenticeship is you're getting your qualification, but you're also getting that hands-on experience, in branch, which you obviously will develop your kind of skill set from there. But yeah, each apprenticeship will have sort of kind of testing element, but as obviously Cammie's touched upon, there is support at every corner for that. Whether it is your trainers, your mentor, or maybe for the more kind of customer service based roles, we have a training and development team that are there every step of the way as well. So they're never ever on their own in terms of they're not just kind of flung into the deep end and just asked to get on with it. They're always supported. With an apprenticeship as well, we're not expecting to have any experience. An apprenticeship is that you learn on the job. You develop those skills as you make your way through your apprenticeship. So we're not expecting you to have any experience, but just a kind of passion to learn, and obviously the support will kind of carry you through.
I think that's a good thing to touch on, because you will see apprentices at every single different level come through, because Cammie, you had a couple of jobs before you started on that, and that's helped a little bit develop part of your journey, because you get a little bit more confidence having been in a work environment before.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But for us, we sometimes see that young person that gets connected in with Arnold Clark or some of the programs that are available, and they might just be a school leaver, coming straight in, and that's their first kind of job. But even some of the skills that I guess you would get at school, working in teams and so on, I would imagine that would support some young people to be thinking about apprenticeship if they're used to being in that sort of team group at sports or whatever.
No, definitely. I'd say I wish I'd done it when I was 16. I wish I'd done it when I was 16.
Because you'd be qualified now.
Could I be qualified now, yeah. But not only that, just because looking back, I never knew what I wanted to do. So I wish, and I just stayed on at school because I thought, what else am I going to do?
Yeah.
So, but I wish I'd done it when I was 16. I think it's a good thing to do an apprenticeship, especially if that's what you're interested in.
Yeah, but that's the importance of trying to like find your path, and you know, this is why that we're using mediums like podcasting or careers events that Arnold Clark heavily support to try and highlight these amazing pathways that are out there for young people. Because if you really want to get, you know, a great career, there's lots and lots of different apprenticeships out there. This is just one organisation that offers it, but we think it's just an amazing opportunity for young people now that perhaps maybe 20 years ago was not quite so prevalent, you know, in the kind of early careers sector, but it absolutely is now, which is great.
It's amazing. Apprenticeships were never offered to me when I was at school. It was never an option. So it's, I think even more for me, like more of like a kind of drive to ensure everyone knows like an apprenticeship is an option. It was just never discussed at my school, which is, you know, absolutely fine. It was more kind of the college university route, but it's just great for young people to know that you don't have to go down those routes if it's just not for you. There's loads of other different things that you can do following school.
And now you've got it as a job.
I know.
Which is full circle.
Full circle moment.
Full circle. So guys, let's start to dispel a few myths. So we touched on the kind of GTG training facility, and I've seen it firsthand. The reason that I was there on a particular day was to celebrate almost like a mini graduation process for some of the girls that are going through the Girls with Skills campaign that Arnold Clark run every year. So for us, that's an amazing campaign. Lauren, just tell us a little bit about Girls with Skills before we bring Cammy into.
No worries, that's fine. So Girls with Skills is a short sort of 3-stage programme that was introduced in an attempt to sort of challenge the gender sort of inequality in the automotive industry, or gender imbalance, sorry. So basically the Girls with Skills programme, it runs at one of our GTG centres that we were talking about previously, and the hope is that girls can come along and kind of get a taster of one of our apprenticeships. So what we tend to do is we have our sort of taster day, so they can come along to, as I say, one of our facilities. We usually host in Glasgow and Edinburgh. The hope is eventually to move down south for our English branches, but they can come for the day and they get sort of taster sessions for each apprenticeship. So we do sort of mechanics where they work in the kind of workshop, have a go at taking obviously like changing a tyre. So they've got their kitted out in their overalls and things like that, and they're actually in the workshop with one of our GTD trainers. We then also have our sort of virtual spray painting that we do to kind of resemble our body shop apprenticeship, one of our kind of spray painting roles. So it's sort of the VR sort of headset that they use, which is really cool, to give them a wee taster of that. And then we also have sort of parts and after sales tasks, where they have to identify parts, which you would have to do as a parts apprentice, and then have kind of customer service sort of based tasks to kind of work on those sort of skill sets. So maybe if sort of girls that attend are just really not interested in sort of hands-on stuff, they've got that element as well. They really love working with people and they love working in a team and things like that, so they get a little taster of everything. Because
that's the thing that's worth stressing. You're never going to know unless you try.
Absolutely definitely not. And there is, as we've discussed, there's so many different opportunities. It isn't just the sort of mechanics roles that we are associated with. And then the hope is, obviously, if they've really enjoyed themselves, they will take part in a week's work experience at a branch sort of local to them where possible. And the hope is that, obviously, if they enjoy the work experience, you know, and they do well at the work experience, that they will join the business as an apprentice. And they're usually in our September intake. So yeah, it's an amazing programme. We're obviously kind of super proud of it. And yeah, we've had quite a lot of success stories. Obviously, Cammy had actually previously mentioned that there's 2 girls starting.
Is there 1 or 2? I think.
Yeah, I think there's two. I think potentially starting at his branch.
Next week, yeah. That was the September apprentices.
Yep.
And that's the kind of thing that I would like to explore, because for me, I've seen it at the really celebratory side when you get to the end and someone's come through that process. And, you know, for us, because DYW are so heavily invested in it, I've seen lots of young people from our schools go through the programme and then get to the point where they're actually getting offers made to them for a job. So that's the bit that we love to see. The bit that I seen, Cammy, I get invited along by Lauren and Jen and the team to go and celebrate some of those young people that were getting offered jobs. But Arnold Clark had also invested in 2 or 3 guest speakers in the day to come along and just speak to young people about what their journey was like in a totally different field. So one of the guest speakers I seen that day was one of the Lionesses from the England football team. So the correlation is like, again, football for girls is maybe one of these things where it maybe wasn't seen as something they could do, but whereas now it's absolutely everywhere and they're filling stadiums.
Yeah.
So for us, let's bang the drum and make this available for girls to see Arnold Clark as a pathway, because you're actually seeing girls coming through as mechanics as well.
Yeah,
So
there's a few girls in my class at college as well, and you also see more and more starting to come through the college as well. So you do see more girls getting into it.
And how do you feel working with them? They're just one of the team.
Right. It doesn't bother me at all.
Crack.
Doesn't bother me at all. You just treat them like MD else. You know, they do the work like MD else, so you just treat them like MD else.
We've had a lot of girls say that they feel like, obviously, they because majority will work in a team full of boys, which is just the way it is, and obviously that's the whole point of the Girls with Skills programme, is to kind of obviously fix that imbalance. But they say they just feel like they're kind of like big brothers and sort of looked after in that sense, like they'll kind of rally around them and things.
Part of the team,
exactly. So which is really nice to hear.
And I
because
think
it can be daunting, as you can imagine.
And I think that's the most important thing is like there's always someone there mentoring you, supporting you, and you don't feel as if you're going to be just that one person that's out there, because for you, you're actually talking about 2s and 3s that are part of your college group. But then there's actually 2 apprentice mechanics for girls coming to your branch soon as well.
Yeah.
So it's great to see.
Yeah.
So any girls that are out there, see someone like Lauren, they will absolutely help you with a career as an apprentice mechanic or a technician, or the customer service roles as well.
Yep, the options are totally there, and the opportunities absolutely there if that is maybe something you're interested in. Even the mechanic side, in terms of if you love working maybe with cars or have a really passion. A lot of the girls that come through the Girls with Skills programme love cars and love working with cars, and maybe didn't think this was an opportunity for them, or maybe didn't feel confident enough to apply for that. So that's the best part of it all.
So when's that programme due to start again, Lauren? When is it going to kick off again?
We don't have exact dates. It's usually sort of start of early next year is the hope. That's kind of what we do, kind of cyclical that way.
Yeah.
But obviously as soon as we have those details, we'll be in touch.
Pass it on.
Yes.
But it's definitely one that's going to be repeated as well.
Yes.
Great programme. So excellent. So just moving on, and this is maybe touching on a little bit about your journey, Cammy, a little bit.
Yeah.
We work across schools across the whole of Lanarkshire, and I know you said you actually attended one of the sort of Lanarkshire schools that we cover, which is great.
Yeah.
One of the things that we also use as a medium is careers events. So Uddingston Grammar, for example, they now do an annual careers events, and organisations like Arnold Clark and so on get invited to go along and attend these. Is that the type of thing that would have helped you a little bit more find your path if you knew more information round about careers events?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. Also, a career event is a lot of people. There's a lot of different organisations there. You can speak to them all. So I think would have helped give me more information on kind of what I wanted to do myself. Just speaking to people who maybe had the experience coming through an apprenticeship, or speaking to people like yourself or myself, Lauren. I think that would have helped a lot when I was a lot younger. But like I said, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And not to say there wasn't stuff there for me to reach out and get help to find what I wanted to do. I think I was just floating about, just waiting for something to fall in my lap. And then you realise you can't do that. You need
but
to go.
then you've probably went full circle and get back to something that you know that you actually love as well. Because if you've been working in, was it your grandparents' cars?
It was my granda. He had old sports cars, and I helped him work in them as well when I was younger. So you kind of just come full circle and realise that's what I like doing. So I just got into it.
And that's the thing, because if you find a job you love, it absolutely feels like it's not as much work.
I don't mind getting up in the morning, going to work, so that's half the battle, isn't it? I only live 10 minutes from my work as well. So
do you?
You're quite
fortunate.
I'm 10 minutes there and 10 minutes home, so that's a big plus for me as well. I know.
So then, just thinking about the early careers team supporting DYW, Lauren. I think that's the bit that we always feel supported, because DYW have got their own events programme and we badge them up at all sort of different things. So during the month of October, we've got a whole load of careers events planned for colleges across Lanarkshire and Glasgow, and we call it Step Into STEM. So there's just an element of kind of STEM that will absolutely be used within your career, Cami, or even your career as well, Lauren, but it's really important for us to feel supported. So what's your thoughts around Arnold Clark attending these careers events? What's your main motivation to get behind that?
They're so crucial to us in terms of just part of our wider engagement piece. But, you know, as Cami sort of said, for these young people, if they're maybe coming to a careers event, they've maybe never thought, they maybe have heard Arnold Clark, obviously, in terms of maybe their parents or grandparents have maybe bought a car or have a car with us, but they actually weren't aware of the career opportunities that we had or have to offer, it's so important for us to get that message out and to have those conversations. It's very well and good just looking on a website, but actually having that face-to-face interaction. Yeah, absolutely. And reflecting on past experience, you know, my journey through the company as well. A lot of the kind of young people tend to ask us, like, how did you get started and things like that, because they're curious, which is amazing. We all are at the end of the day. So it's crucial for us to have that sort of face-to-face, and it means, and I always say, even if you just speak to one person that's potentially interested, it's worth its weight in gold, really. Whether that goes into an application or not, it's just having that interaction and maybe seeing a wee light bulb go and like, I could maybe do this. Like I'm potentially interested in this, but I never knew this was an opportunity for me. And getting the kind of like details in terms of if it is minimum requirements and what they might need to do. That's maybe they're in sort of younger school and they're working or picking their subjects, like what subjects I need to do if I want to do this apprenticeship.
Advise them towards a
exactly, things
pathway.
like that. So no, they're amazing exposure for us, and it's great as well. We kind of get to mix with other companies and see kind of what they offer as well, which is great. It's just brilliant to be a part of them. We always kind of come away with just either good stories or just good interactions that we've had with young people.
So I think for us as well, it's just using them as a medium to promote like the pathways, because obviously we've discovered today there's so many different varied roles even within Arnold Clark, but then for us, when you multiply up 40 and 50 employers like still banging the whole drum, there's lots out there for young people, but just to kind of bring it back to what attracted you guys to the business or to the brand, let's talk about some of the benefits you get. So Cami, you've started with Arnold Clark. Have you got a car for Arnold Clark, for example? Have you got one from the business? Or?
No, I've never bought a car from Arnold Clark. I've still got my first car when I was 17.
Because you're looking after it?
Yes.
Yeah, because I know how to look after it. Yeah, that's it. No, definitely, you do get benefits working with Arnold Clark. You know, you get the holidays, you get 33 days holiday to start with, and that can progress to get more over time the longer you're with the business.
Yeah.
So I do see that as a benefit, you know. I don't know when you hit 40 days holiday a year, but for you,
it's a few years,
yeah, I think it's like 15 years or something. You get 40 days holiday, so that's all right.
You're 3 years in.
12 to go.
Making moves.
I know, but definitely you do get some good benefits if you're going to buy a car as well, and you get money off services and stuff like that as well. And parts discounts as well.
So did you see that as one of the things that you would think might be appealing for you as a young person? Or
I didn't know about that until I joined the business, to be honest with you, but I definitely find out about it now. I'm find out about it now, and you know it's quite good, because you know if you do something on your car, your parts can be quite expensive, so getting the parts discount is quite good, to be honest with you.
But even I suppose that's one thing that you've kind of like touched on, like you're pretty close to the branch that you work in.
Yeah.
So that eliminating like a huge commute in the mornings can be a big part of kind of like that early experience, especially.
Definitely, and especially going home as well. I do tend to miss the rush hour, to be honest with you. Just because we start at 8:15.
Right.
So
tell me about missing the rush hours. Does that mean that you're finishing earlier and you miss
we finish earlier as well. So mechanics finish at 5:30, we finish at 4:45.
Brilliant.
So it's not too bad. I miss that as well.
So for you then, that's actually like a little bit of a benefit as well, because
definitely.
You mentioned you don't mind getting up early and get to work and so on, but if you're getting home early and so on, there's loads of stuff that you can go and get on.
Yeah, you still get stuff at time at night as well to do whatever you want to do with yourself. So it's pretty good.
And Lauren, just thinking about the apprentices that are not here then, what's their journey? I'd imagine the kind of after sales or customer service team, they're probably more branch hours, would that be right, or is it?
So all our apprentices do similar hours, so they're 39 hours per week, so it's Monday to Friday, and as Cammy said, they have their kind of early finish, and they usually have an earlier finish on a Friday as well, which is
that's
I'm
another
so jealous of.
I forgot about that, but we do get an earlier finish on a Friday.
I was waiting for you to say.
No, I completely forgot about that there, to be honest.
Early stop Friday, it's just
early stop on a Friday, 4:45 on a Friday.
So yeah, that's again, as you say, is probably a benefit in itself. There's no weekend working, particularly in your first year as well. So you're that Monday to Friday, which is great. And obviously we have sort of maybe potentially boring benefits, but we do have like private healthcare and life insurance, and we work with an automotive charity called Ben, and we get like free counselling and therapy through Ben, which is phenomenal. Obviously they kind of cover you as soon as you sort of enter the business, you're sort of covered with support, which is great. So we do have lots and lots of different resources kind of just supporting all employees sort of mental, physical and financial well-being. There's lots of resources. We have our ACE app that we use, so there's lots of different things that we can access on that, and we also have one of our kind of most exciting ones, which is that will help with the cost of driving lessons for apprentices. So that's just for apprentices only, and from their second year, Arnold Clark will cover.
So that's something that's worth probably just stopping on and highlighting a little bit more, because you could be a 16-year-old starting in Arnold Clark as an apprentice, and then by the time you turn 17, you're in year 2, and your driving lessons could potentially be funded, did you say?
So they cover up, part funded. So they cover up to, I believe it's £1,000 in lessons, and they cover the cost of 2 attempts at your theory and your practical as well. So it's a huge saving. It's an amazing benefit, and we're obviously like something we're always sort of shouting about, because we know how expensive it is to learn to drive
of course,
these days.
And you did touch on earlier on, you said dual control cars are in the hire department, is that right?
So
that could be an element of someone's journey as well, where
to learn to
they
drive.
could come to the business to get that dual control car, potentially to learn, minimise cost as well.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and I'm sure you get a discount. Well, that's one of the you get a discount off the rental cars as well. So if you were to hire one of the dual control vehicles, you can get it for a bit cheaper.
Because again, that's part of someone that everyone, if they're hoping to drive, would maybe start to go out and learn more, and it saves them using like a parent's car or a partner's car or something to learn to drive in. They could get it from that as well, which is
just another example. The business again are investing that in our apprentices. They want to see them to get on the road, and they're helping them with that journey, because as we know, it's crazy expensive these days. So So just thinking on about just next steps for you both. So Lauren, you've mentioned September's really a busy time. You've got apprentices starting and an intake, and what's that going to be like over the next sort of 4 weeks then for you? Like, how many people are you kind of interacting with and supporting through these programs? So we have. This is quite a good timing actually, because we actually just had our first intake just last week. So the 1st of September was our first intake. So we had apprentices join from both technician roles and after sales roles across our GTG, Edinburgh, Glasgow and Wolverhampton sites. Again, a high volume of candidates coming through. So we have our big induction day, which again we try to make as sort of fun and relaxed as we possibly can, in terms of it's a first day for many. It's their first ever kind of job. So just 3 big locations there that you've kind of mentioned, but no one's getting together. They're doing it at each of the 3 locations. Is that right? Yeah. So we have, we as the early careers team, we kind of split amongst the centres. So a few of us covered off the GTG Edinburgh induction. My colleagues covered off Glasgow, and then we have a team in Manchester who covered off our Wolverhampton induction. So basically our sort of English apprentices will go to our Wolverhampton site. And obviously kind of surrounding, like Edinburgh surrounding areas and in Glasgow surrounding areas, branches would go to each site accordingly. But obviously for that kind of training purposes, we have kind of previously already arranged any sort of train travel. So we book that, arrange all that.
Support. So you're supporting them through that early part
absolutely,
of the journey as well.
So we obviously, if you're having to travel a distance to the site, we do offer hotel accommodation as well. So GCG organise that, so candidates can obviously stay over, apprentices can stay over, which again is obviously very, very probably nerve-wracking for a few of our apprentices, especially maybe leaving home for the first time. So we obviously try to make that journey as kind of relaxed as we possibly can, and that kind of is in conjunction with the day itself. We do want it to be relaxed. We want them to have fun, as well as learning about the business and obviously getting to know each other. As Cammy said, your cohorts, basically, you spend so much time with them throughout your apprenticeship. So it's really important that they have those sort of conversations, and they can relax to have them.
That early part of bonding's a little bit of the culture that makes you feel connected to your group and your brand, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. In college, it really does help if you all get along and you all talk and stuff like that, which I'm sure everyone probably does. But my class, we get along perfectly. Especially in work, all the boys get along. So, sorry, pardon me, but especially in work as well, all get along. It's great.
So now that you're in your third year, and you've mentioned earlier there that you're going to be more hands-on, would you be like more removed from your college group now that you're are you still connected in with
still
it?
right next to them, same workshop, so I'm still right next to everyone, and I know I'll still have questions. I don't know everything, so nobody does, but I'll still have questions. So and I know I can ask any single one of them for help, and they will give it to me. So just ask Andy for help if you need it, and they will give it to you. And my mentor's just around the corner as well.
So I suppose that's the thing that I'd like to just explore a little bit more for you. So this is going to be like a huge year for you. It's your final year.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's going to be the sort of testing elements that you've touched on. That it's been part of the process all the way through. What's your hopes and aspirations at the end of your third year? Would you stay in the same branch? Would you move on? What would you hope would happen?
So I hope to stay on in the same branch. I'm more than happy with how I said I'm 10 minutes. That's a big thing for me. And I get along with the boys really well, so I'm more than happy to stay where I am when I get my papers. So that's you thinking about your journey would remain there for now. I've not thought about long distance too much. I'm just focusing on finishing my apprenticeship at the moment. But I know I will stay when I get it, because I'm happy where I am.
Yeah, and you feel connected to the team and the branch, and again that's a huge part of embedding a young person in. If they feel connected and you feel welcome as part of the team, it's a huge thing to like bang that drum and say Arnold Clark's been great for you so far as part of your apprenticeship journey.
It's been great for me so far. Made good friends as well, and when you come in, you quickly learn everybody's name because you're talking to them so much, and everyone, they'll introduce themselves to you and stuff like that. So it's a good environment to work in. Every day's
been fun then, I take it.
Not every day's fun. You have your days, just like any job, I'd say. Yeah. You have your days, but any day you just go home, shake it off, and come back in the next day and have a better one.
Brilliant. So just then thinking about what's next for the early careers team. Obviously, we've touched on apprenticeships being a huge part of that journey, and you've got the 2 intakes, which are obviously huge. What can the likes of DYW do more to try and help you guys support that process, Lauren? How can we help you more?
I think you do a lot in terms of, obviously you have a lot of events, and I know the events that you've said for sort of October time will be great for us, and we are attending, I think, most of them, if not all of them.
All of them, yeah.
So we will be launching for our March intake around kind of early November time. So this kind of October time is really like important for us to kind of get the word out. Obviously on our apprenticeships launching for the March intake. That's obviously a lot smaller kind of time period between when we launch for our September intake, because we launch in March for that, so there's a longer period of time in between obviously kind of initial launching and then obviously candidates starting with us. For us, this is, as I say, the October time is super important. We'll be hosting as well some sort of branch events. Obviously, we'll liaise with you to kind of push that out to obviously your contacts for any young people interested in apprenticeship, or their parents if they want to come along to ask any questions just regarding obviously kind of entry requirements, what the apprenticeship looks like. We'll be hosting it in a few branches, so that'll be all up on our website in due course, and obviously can send the details on.
And I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because that's a huge part of kind of the work that we try and do, because there is this element of young people that we need to engage with, but first and foremost there's lots and lots of different people that can influence that journey. So Cammy, like you mentioned, like a grandparent can try and influence maybe choices that you've made a little bit. But for us, if we feel that parents or careers advisors, teachers, anyone that's in that circle, if they want to come along and speak to guys like you to find out more about that journey, that's why it's so important. So absolutely we would get that message out, because part of doing this podcast is to bang that drum a little bit more, but you can never like get enough kind of like medium out there to try and just highlight more pathways. So this is really kind of like November onwards for that.
So
that
October time will be for the kind of branch events, but yeah, November, so we launch in November, so the kind of pre-November will be really crucial for us in terms of getting the word out as much as possible that we're launching. But even kind of November time onwards, again, is super important, because they'll be still open, the vacancies, obviously, for a few wee weeks. And then we'll move into the next stages, which is kind of testing and then practical assessments and then all first stage. So.
And that's the kind of thing we touched on, Cammy. So you've come out of Uddingston Grammar, haven't you?
Yes, I have, yeah. So, that was a good few years ago.
A good few years ago. but that's one of the skills that we cover. So just kind of like this whole journey is so important to highlight. Sometimes you can maybe like miss that early bit of careers information and you not quite get it at school. But for us, whether it's Uddingston Grammar or Stonelaw High School or anyone that's across that kind of like remit that we cover, we will make sure that we get that message and obviously highlight that Arnold Clark's a great place to work. So let's just summarise, just in like one sentence from each of you, if that's all right. What do you love most about your job?
Who's going first? I'm looking at you.
I'll put you in the spot.
I put me in the spot. It's quite a hard one. I'd say just being the more hands-on job. Working with my hands is probably the best thing about my job.
The bit that you enjoy. I'm
not really a sit down in an office type of person. So working with my hands is a big plus.
Thinking in your feet.
Yeah, it's
obviously like problem, because
you do need problem solve. Yeah, it's a big part of that.
And that's the bit that I'm trying to highlight from STEM. Problem solving is a huge part of that. And whilst you'll not always relate exactly what it is, the interest that a young person might get to kind of like solve that early part of diagnosis with a car, because lots of them are so electronic now that you can
got a lot of electrical parts in the car.
Delve straight into what perhaps is a problem with, but you still need to take it to bits and get it back together again. So that's the bit that you enjoy.
Yeah, problem solving is good. But everyone thinks different, so everyone thinks different ways. So it's always good to get a team in there and you can all discuss it as well. But as I said, everyone's there to help you and you can bounce ideas off people as well. So it's a pretty good part of it.
And then just in summary, Lauren, you've had more time to think about this.
I have, I know, you were put on the spot.
So just obviously thinking about your role, being involved in early careers, which covers everything for the business, what do you love most about your role?
I think for me, it's potentially offering maybe someone's first job, but also potentially like a total career change for them as well. We, as I say, have lots of different people come through our apprenticeships of all varying ages and, you know, different stages of life and different experiences. So that is obviously a great part of my job, but also like actually seeing their journey. So obviously Cameron's sitting here and he's going into his third year. Like that's amazing for us to see that someone's obviously committed themselves to that kind of 3 year and they're enjoying it and they're getting the support that they need, which is just amazing to see. It's just nice to kind of hear the stories and see them. We attended quite recently the GTG sort of apprentice graduation, so that was like a really exciting event to see all the apprentices like graduating. Will you soon? And for that is the best kind of part of my job. Obviously offering someone the first job, or maybe, as I say, a second, third job, whatever it might be, but actually seeing them see it through to the end is amazing.
Brilliant. Well, guys, I'd just like to summarise. You've been two fabulous guests for representing Arnold Clark. We love having you here today.
Thank you.
It's all about learning the world of early careers and the apprenticeship opportunities are out there. So thanks very much. Thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of Career Bites podcasting, and we will be back with another episode very soon. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much. Thank you.